This video is one that I get to make spontaneously. I was gonna make one about a different topic, but I couldn't. I couldn't get myself to do it. I didn't think it'd be enjoyable to watch, but this one's got content. Let me bring the mic down a little bit closer. Maybe get a little more, you know, sentimental. Um, this video is about ESL's female only league. Wow. ESL. They're so brave. They definitely haven't done this before, by the way. See, the thing that's so weird about this, and the weird thing, especially about people commenting towards Thorn, is that this isn't ESL's first time hosting female only stuff. They've had female only tournaments before. Matter of fact, I remember on By the Numbers years ago when Richard and Thorn were talking about this, obviously the two hosts of By the Numbers, that they were okay with women's leagues. They don't have a problem with them. Both of them are okay with them existing because why wouldn't you be? It brings more attention to esports and it, shows esports to be growing as a more accepting audience, which it already is the most accepting sport that exists. It's actually not even close, which is crazy compared to traditional sports. It's way more accepting of people. It's so not close. So it's very weird to paint them in a certain way that they're absolutely not because of Sempler's tweet. Sempler's not against a female-only league. He never said he was. He said that ESL is disingenuous on why they're doing it, and they're purposely framing it as men bad, when ESL has done plenty of fucked up shit itself. I remember a year or two ago, remember the Mountain Dew League, when teams played to get accepted into the Pro League. Do you remember that? Do you remember they snubbed a bunch of teams that won fair and square, and then they just said, "Yeah, we're not inviting you to the Pro League. It's too much money." So we just cut off regular players, but now we have enough money to make a $500,000 tournament for women only. That's just fucked up. I mean, you fucked over teams that you said you could get this to start this, and then not even a year later, after COVID and everything. Well, after COVID, right? It's never gonna be after COVID, by the way. You just make a $500,000 league for women. Seems interesting. But that's not really the point of the video. The point of the video is how fucked Twitter is. Twitter, especially, what's more influencer culture, because these people that are replying to Thorn, they don't watch esports. They think esports is watching Shroud or Valkyrie or Myth on the weekends. That's not really esports. Esports is very old. As funny as Thorn's tweets are, saying I am esports and stuff, he's been around for 20 years. He was there when there was no money in it. There's no benefit to him doing it other than he enjoyed it. It is people like him, whether you like it or not, that help make esports as popular as it is today. When people were playing Quake on old fucking brick computers and they were worried about getting good frames at some local fucking hotel venue, and they were doing it for $500 and a mouse pad. That's what esports was back then. Hell, I was too young to remember it. I was fortunate enough to get into esports when I was still young. Probably, I think the first esports I watched was Halo Reach. Worst Halo, but when it comes to esports, but yeah, I was 12 or 13. It's been 10 years now. I've been interested in it the whole time, and it's really weird to just paint people as something they're just not. Especially with Thorn's history. We can meme about how funny and how ridiculous the shit he's saying, but that's kind of the point. He realizes it's ridiculous. He just thinks it's funny to tweet out anyways. It's really fucking good. And luckily, the morons don't get the point. You see, we'll see how fucking crazy that bottom one in the right corner is. That's just so wild to me. Any woman who blocks a man to prove anything he said to be is he said to be right slash true. It's obviously what he's saying there. If a woman blocks a guy who's harassing her sexually or doing something like calling her, some really fucked up shit, and then he gets blocked, well, I guess he was right. But this fucking guy under just doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand. What if it's crazy. I don't get his headspace. He didn't get the analogy. He couldn't pick it up. Like, fuck, your mental's so broken. And the obviously that was just another example in the top right. That one's less interesting, but the 44 likes Lamau take the L when she has 10 likes and he has 238. Well, that was a banger, of course. Um, but what is this? It's just so weird. This whole thing is predicated that Thorne hates women, doesn't want a female league. He's fine with a female league. He's never said otherwise. He's never said he's against women in esports or anything like that. Rather, if you know anything about Thorne, he has always invited guests that he just thought were good enough to be on his shows. Good analysts like Emily Rand and uh, Kelly Mosley. And we'll even put, Forscoren on there, of course. Well, we see how that panned out, didn't we? If you know anything about their history, it's they're enemies now. But he put her on her show because he thought she was good enough. It's just what it was. Thorne didn't care who you were. He invited you if he thought you were good enough to be on there. He helped LS a lot. This guy's done shows with so many historic esports figures that it's so crazy, especially all the women he's supported in esports, to say that he just hates women. That's so fucking crazy. I mean, even with Forscarin hating him, he'll always say she was good. That's why I invited her. That's why I promoted her content, because I thought she was good at what she did. She hates him now? Yeah. Maybe she always hated him and just used him. Who knows? Kelly Mosley, they had a show together that, if we look at the average views, it was much lower, but he continued to do it anyways because he didn't care. It's not the viewership that matters. He probably could have brought a interesting male figure on and really proved the point that he'd get more views, but he didn't care about that. Why would he? If he got a prominent male figure that he didn't think was as good as Kelly, why would he do that? It's not in his mind. He just doesn't think like that. You just completely misunderstand it. It's so crazy. It's so fucking wild. But there's so much shit that the people said to him that they said there was one banger tweet that I liked where they said the only reason he would act like this towards women is if he was gay. The fuck are you implying there? That gay people hate women? What the fuck was the implication? They deleted that tweet. I think it took a day after them to realize, wait a sec. That's fucked up, isn't it? Yeah, it's fucked up. I have all the bangers liked, right? That's why those two are liked. But there's just so many of those throughout it, and it's just not. It's just they don't care. The people that are interested don't understand that. This isn't a hot button topic. There's nothing controversial about a female league. Hell, even Semler's comments aren't even that controversial. He just thinks ESL is misframing it as male toxicity, and when in reality they just want to have. Okay, the real reason ESL wants it. Let's say the real reason they want it. They want a female league because they want to be ahead of the curve so they can have a monopoly of a league where they are the female league. ESL has always searched for a monopoly. That's what you want in esports. It's a monopoly because it'll make you money. They see how Valorant's going ahead with lots of popular female teams attempting to make, major circuit tournaments without like a quite the same barriers that other esports have had. The true points, that's what we're going to get into now, is there are some fair criticisms like team houses. You probably don't just want 4 dudes and 1 girl that see each other every day, it can be an uncomfortable setting. Whether that be because, I mean, we don't have to get into why. It's just a weird setting. And you're right. The truth is, um, team houses were a mistake. That's it. They were a mistake. They were necessary when esports needed to, was more of like a grassroots type, you know, really not a big money maker. And that's why teams couldn't afford to house like each individual player. So they would bring a player, they would essentially bring them all in one house. So they would play in that house together, good internet. But I mean, we've moved past that era. We've moved so far past that era. We should have facilities at this point, especially teams that have League of Legends orgs. There's no reason you should not have facilities. 100 Thieves has a facility. It's a great facility. You should be able to do stuff like that, definitely. Especially if you're a major org like, let's say, Cloud9, TSM. Sure, you could say maybe smaller orgs that have all women's team can't do that anymore, or that have like mixed teams that are they're just not as big, can't afford that. That may be true, but we've been going through the online era, specifically in CS:GO, for 2 years now, almost. I mean, come on, we're not even at lands. This is the time where you can play online, and it's not that big of a deal. You guys don't have to be housed together, so there, it's just weird to me, right? If there was an era to do it, you had it last year. If you wanted to invite women on males team, we could have done that, but I mean, we didn't. uh the reason there aren't as many females on pro teams, or that are professional in general, it's just a numbers game. Women play video games a lot less than men, whether that be because, games were targeted towards men. What it's true that that is why. Uh, Eventually, especially in esports, I'm sure there will be a female player that is just one of the best in the world, top 10 in something like CS:GO, if it lives that long. You can only hope the legacy game CS continues to live on. In Valorant, I'm sure we could see it in a year or two, where there's just female pros that are top, and there are orgs that want them on their teams with other male players. It's totally possible. I mean, the Cloud9 team that plays Valorant, their female one is very good from what I've seen. Uh, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of those players wanted to be a part of, true top contender. There should be mixed teams in esports. It's fucking esports. It should happen. And I don't think Thorn would disagree with that, or nor would Semler, or Richard Lewis, who got harassed crazy, even though he didn't even tweet on the subject. That's fucking bonkers, by the way. If you think they disagree with that, you're an idiot. You don't know about them. You don't know about their careers. You can't even pretend to. Most likely, you watch Valkyrie on the weekends, and you're like, hey, I actually don't watch esports too much, but let me comment on this. I mean, people said that a bunch. It's actually crazy how many people were like, I don't even pay attention to esports, but you're a clown. It's like, what are you talking about? How can you even address the point then? So, does Semler hate women? Does Thorn hate women? Does Richard Lewis hate women? Once again, I don't even know why Richard Lewis is piled in all this, but he got harassed even once again for no reason. I don't know how he got involved in this. The answer is of course not. Of course they don't. There's no evidence to say otherwise. Thorn fucking with people on Twitter, I mean, it's just who he is, right? That's just his character. If you knew who he was, you would know he would just say crazy outlandish shit sometimes where he's like, should I tweet that? Probably shouldn't. Gonna tweet it anyways though. Um Semler kind of bantered with it. In the end, the truth is Semler's take may be shit to you. It could be, really. Maybe toxicity is the biggest reason. I'm not so sure. It's definitely a reason, without a doubt. But is it the main reason ESL is starting a female-only league? Come on now. Let's be a little real here. ESL could give a fuck less how toxic it is, considering their history. So the truth of the matter is, it's probably not that. They want money. Women's only leagues are good for money, and They should be in esports until one day where they don't have to be. But even then, maybe we should have them anyways. Draw more eyes towards it. 500,000 though, that is a lot of money. It is bigger than any female tournament that's been done in the past. I looked this up because I was like, this is the only time this happened, especially in CS:GO, and yeah, it's not. I mean, 2015 there were several tournaments, and then yearly there were several female only tournaments for every year. The prizes weren't as big, but it did genuinely have less viewers, so of course the prizes weren't as big as regular leagues. I say regular leagues because they're not male only. They're just you can play no matter what you are. It's just a regular league. Esports is very far ahead of its time, and I especially far ahead of its time compared to traditional sports. And the the harassment piece, that's really what it is. But Thorin doesn't really care. He'll just block you for it, right? That people have gotten as it's pretty outlandish. It's not very reasonable, really, because your biases towards who they are aren't even correct. They're not even close to correct. Not only are they not correct, but they're not they weren't correct 7 years ago. Once again, there was a By the Numbers episode where they talked about how they liked female only leagues. Like, there's no problem with them. I mean, I don't get it. Semler was baiting a little bit harder, but if you come to the conclusion like what half of those fucking tweets are, just screaming at them saying like they're sexist or whatever, you're probably brain damaged. I can't help you with that. If you don't want to look at their history, you don't have to. Your brain's just too fucked. That's a Minecraft earlier. Your brain is just too fucked, and there's nothing you can do, unfortunately. Maybe when you get older, your brain will become unfucked, but the internet's probably already done too much to you. Sorry, apologies. I wish you the best. We're getting close to the end of this video. There was one other mention that I wanted to bring in, mostly. This is just more drama related, but the Michaela Thorne beef, it's so crazy that's mentioned because she like says how to commit career suicide. First of all, Thorne's career will be fine after this. You're a fucking idiot. He was in the last major. Like, what? He'll be so fine after this. It's so unbelievable. Rather, it's usually not other people that burn bridges with Thorne. Thorne is like, I'm burning this fucking bridge because I can't agree with this. That's what happened with LS. You see, Thorne, this is kind of where the Michaela hating Thorne, which, by the way, she's not a part of esports at all. She's just an influencer. I don't know why she's commenting on esports stuff. Neither is Tyler Warren. They're influencers. They're not related to esports in any way. But Michaela specifically was talking. It was the LS drama when I think Thorne was like, a player's overrated, and then LS was basically like, no, he's not. He's the best, or like, he's really really good. And Thorne's like, I don't think he is. And then LS said some pretty unreasonable things to Thorne, and Thorne said, I should have posted this video of how you acted. And then Michaela's like, well, you just blackmailed LS. I don't know who you are, and we don't even know who you are, which isn't true because she had tweeted about him like a year ago. So most people that say, I don't even know who Thorne is, it's not true. You know who Thorne is. Like, you're just lying for whatever reason. It's really fucking weird. But Michaela said like he blackmailed LS, which isn't what happened. He said he should have posted it, not implying that he was going to post it. Just that he should have posted it because it showed a side of LS that he tries to hide a lot, where sometimes he can get really emotional and erratic. But I mean, he still does that anyways. I like LS a lot. Wish him the best. I still watch his content. Still watch Thorin's content occasionally. So you probably shouldn't get too mixed in these relationships. They both make pretty good content, but Michaela's like thing about LS being blackmailed just wasn't true. And they didn't like each other after that point. Like, I don't know if Michaela can't read very well, but it was pretty clear that it wasn't blackmail. And then Thorin, like, during the T1 stuff, when LS was supposed to coach T1, but see, I don't have this evidence. I'm just trusting the words of what I've heard, is that South Koreans didn't like that LS was gay. which is unreasonable. And Ellis had to take a little break after all that, and Thorin was supporting Ellis through that. And of course, he would. He thought it was fucked up what they did because that's who Thorin is. Even though Ellis and him had spats, they're on so and so terms, but he'd defend him even if he doesn't. Let's say he didn't like Ellis, he would have still defended him. I mean, it's so crazy. That situation was really crazy. That's its own video. I'm not making that one. I made this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Female only leagues, awesome for esports. I personally would love to see more women in esports, and I hope you would too. And I actually think Thorin is fine with it as well, and so was everyone else. It was just an inflamed situation for no reason whatsoever because Semler thought ESL's framing was poor. That was it. So what a banger. This was all during Christmas, by the way. People tweeting, Semler's a sexist during Christmas. Lovely. Spend time with your family next time, maybe. Have a good night. Will I make another video? Who fucking knows? This one's pretty long. I was gonna make one, but we'll see. We'll see if another trailer comes out, and then I'll make the video. But banger. This has been another video. It's been a few months. And yeah, fuck off.